this is Lisa Klein from Total Health Physical Therapy, and we're back for video 2 or 3 in the series. The first video that we released was everything you wanted to know about how your body responds to trauma, but you're afraid to ask. And to my side here is the lovely Daniette, our audience of 1, who is in Baltimore, so that's a lot of social distancing there. We're good to go. And now we're going to talk about ways that you can use your hands to move some of this overwhelm out of your body. So one thing that we talked about on the first video is that your body and you as a mind, body, spirit, individual person, you respond to information. So when information comes in, whether it's what you see, hear, smell, touch, taste, whatever, when it comes into your body neurologically, biologically, anatomically has a response to that data. What we have found, being manual physical therapists, is that you can use your hands to override that information coming in, which is what you're going to do daily until this is all over. Okay, so we talked about last time is that when you have things that come into your awareness, what you see, watching the news, what you hear, everything, the first part of your body that will react is your stomach, which is on the left. It's under your left lower ribs. So what you want to do if you want to start to move some of that load out is you would have a hand on the left lower ribs and a hand behind your low back. And for that, you can use the back of your hand. You don't have to use the front of your hand. And you're basically on the small of your back. So I know this sounds, again, cuckoo bananas, but if you have one hand on your stomach and one hand behind your low back, you're going to be you're cueing the stomach to drain. The hand on the low back is accessing the ureters, which are the tubes that go from the kidneys to the bladder. The ureters are muscles that drain. What we know is that when you touch your body, you're provoking a response. And what you're trying to do is use tactile stimulation, hands-on, to cause your body to have a different physiological reaction. Does that make sense, Daniette?
Yes.
Gabish? Okay.
I'm hands on stomach, hands on ureters.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So if you are under a lot of stress, again, we talked about that vagal nerve, which is right in that area as well. If with everything going on, you are having headaches, if you are nauseous, if you're having trouble eating, either too much or too small amounts of food, whatever is going on, if it's affecting your digestive system, and again, that vagus nerve, which is here, also causes headaches, nausea, hallucinations, rashes, all kinds of things, you'd put a hand on your stomach and another hand on the ureters. And you would hold in this position for about 20 minutes. You may feel heat coming out, you may feel buzzing, you may get very relaxed. You can certainly hold it for longer than 20 minutes. And again, I know it sounds ludicrous, but it really will start to move some of that built up stress out of your stomach.
I have a question.
Yes.
So can I do this, should I be doing this when I'm sitting up, or can I do this when I'm lying down?
Very good question. It doesn't matter. So you can do it sitting up, laying down, however you want to be. The biggest thing is you don't want the shoulder here to get really irritated. So it's kind of hard I can do that for maybe 15, 20 minutes, then I have to shift around. So depending upon how much movement you have in your shoulders. But it doesn't matter. I tell my patients this is their official excuse to watch TV because you can be doing it while you're watching TV. And you could watch
RuPaul, you mean?
RuPaul or, Tiger King, which we're all watching now, which is crazy. So yeah, so you can do it while watching Tiger King. Whatever you want to do. All right, so that's number 1. So that's if you are wanting to bring the stress level down and if you maybe experiencing other symptoms as well. In order to process the adrenals, Anne gave a video yesterday that's on our YouTube channel, which is basically how can you take the adrenals to different areas to calm them down. What she has on there is excellent. That's the whole routine for that. The other option is you put a hand on your adrenals and then the other hand on your low back. So the adrenal hand is right about bra strap level. They sit on the kidneys. The other hand is across your low back. That's a tougher one because of the position, because it's kind of hard to do that because both of your hands are behind your back. But it's a very restful and calming process to do as well. And again, when you have your hands, one hand on the adrenals, and you can use the back of your hand, the other hand on the ureters is called taking the adrenals to the ureters. And you'll find that that is also very, very relaxing. Got it? Okay.
Got it.
The next one we want to go over is we're going to start getting into some more of the emotions that are going on right now. And one of the main emotions that's coming up for people is fear. And what we know, this correlates with Chinese medicine. It also correlates with treating patients for almost 30 years and seeing how our bodies, you live life with every cell of your body. You do not process emotions in your brain. You process emotions from the neck down. The organs process the emotions for you. That information then goes to the brain and is organized by different parts of the brain, and then your brain will create a response that is correlated with previous experiences and the load. So what you want to do is always keep draining the load of emotions out of your body, because if you hit critical mass, it will trigger the limbic system, which we talked about in the other video. The limbic system is the reptilian, it's the deeper part of the brain. It's on each side, there are two parts of it. And it will kick into a survival crisis response when the emotions become loaded, too much loaded. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's like a silo, like a grain silo that just hits and then it'll kick you into survival crisis. The problem with being in survival crisis is that the limbic system is nonverbal, irrational, symbol mediated, survival driven, sensory driven. Which means if your system becomes overwhelmed with emotions that are not moving out of you and it triggers the limbic system, you will start to act in ways that are irrational, including, making different decisions, panic reactions, different things, which we really don't need to be doing right now.
Hoarding toilet paper.
Hoarding toilet paper. I have a friend who's Lebanese. She was in the war there 20 years. She's like, we never ran out of toilet paper in 20 years of a civil war. Like, people! Unbelievable. Yes, hoarding toilet paper. So that's a limbic reaction response. So the limbic system perpetuates limbic survival behaviors: affectation, confrontation, guilt, shame, martyr, self-pity, self-judgment, narcissism, addiction. So the limbic system will perpetuate behaviors. We talked a little bit about drinking last time, but if it kicks you into a full-on addiction, that is a limbic reaction. All right, you're not in your rational mind at that point. Your mind has been hijacked. So you kind of don't want it to get it to that place, okay? So again, just dialing back, when you are exposed to a traumatic situation, stomach loads first, everyday stress. You want to bring that down. You want to drain out your adrenals because that's the fight or flight situation. The next one that you can work with are your kidneys. So the kidneys, which are right below the adrenals, so they're the bottom of your ribs here. The kidneys process fear. So if you find yourself in a fear response on the regular, you would put a hand across your lower ribs on the back, which is easier to do than the adrenals. And then your other hand goes right below it for the ureters. And you would hold that with the backs of your hands for about 20 minutes or so. It is very relaxing. Got that? Mm-hmm. Excellent. The last one we're going to show today, because we're going to do kind of a bunch of little videos, is going to be how to process that limbic system. Again, if you are in a situation where you are continually exposed to traumatizing information, eventually your brain will go into a survival crisis. At that point, information is no longer getting to your frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the seat of rational thinking, judgment, memory, thoughts, just everything that you really need right now to figure out what to do. Okay, so if your brain neurologically is hijacked to survival crisis, you are going to be at a disadvantage because you will not be able to really think your way clear as to what's happening now. The limbic system is a deep subcortical structure. It can be accessed on the side of the head, but it's also really easy to access right here between your eyes on the bridge of your nose. So if you find yourself getting into this survival crisis, very overwhelmed, don't know what to do, kicking into addictive behaviors, what you want to do is have a hand on the bridge of your nose. The other hand's going to go, again, across the low back, the small of your back, and you're going to basically bring that down just by having a hand here and the back. Again, what we have found is that the hands are very powerful. They can start to change the course of how your body is responding to information. You're using tactile stimulation to reset how your body is responding. You can use this in addition to the other tools that we talked about. Again, cardio, homeopathics, fish oil. We talked about the journaling. Part of the reason why the journaling works is because you're expressing what's going on, but you're also kicking it out of your subconscious and moving it out of that limbic system. All right, but if you're finding yourself unable to journal because you're in a survival crisis, because the limbic system is non-verbal, what you want to start doing, that's when you can bring out art therapy. So painting, color, just anything you can do to move things out. Again, that limbic system is symbol mediated, meaning you need something that reminds you of something safe and calm will help. It is irrational by definition. It is nonverbal, and it's sensory mediated. So hot baths, hot showers, lavender, anything that you can give your body that's a sensory experience, weighted blankets, anything like that to help your limbic system to calm down, and then the processing is really good as well. Questions?
So you had noted that usually when you do the tactile touch that you're doing it for about 20 minutes per position?
So what we found is that 20 minutes is kind of it starts to really get things moving. It creates a change. 5-10 minutes, it's good. And what Anne gave you with the processing yesterday is excellent because you're hitting a bunch of the areas for a couple minutes at a time, which is totally good. But when you want to really solidly process something out to the ureters and you want to create a change, it's about 20 minutes at a time.
And if you were in a significant trauma place emotionally, is there a place you should kind of, do you always start with the stomach? Or is it just kind of...
So define significant trauma place emotionally, like what, you're having a panic attack?
Potentially, maybe you're stuck at home and starting to actually move into some serious addiction.
Freak out. Okay, so you can do it from here. You don't have to start with the stomach because at this point you've exceeded the stomach, right? You could start at the limbic system. So you would start at the more significant one, which would be this one. So it's limbic to ureters. That would bring you back into your body a little bit, and then from there, processing the adrenals and the kidneys and the stomach would work better. You'd start with the limbic system. Are you okay? Should I be worrying about you?
You should be worrying about me.
I'll call you later.
I went on a wine run. I'm good. I've got my emotional support.
I'll call you after this. Okay, so yes. Okay, so hope that's good. We're going to shoot a video next about other emotions that are there as well. But again, my takeaways for you, lovely people, are that there are many things that you can do to minimize the effect that all this trauma is having on you. And the more you start doing those now, the better you are going to be. One thing about viruses is that they're fought off by a part of the immune system that's modulated by the thymus gland. It's more that T-cell situation. The thymus gland is part of the endocrine system. The more you are in shock, trauma, adrenal load, it will impair your immune system. So one of the things, again, to make it so you can fight everything off, so you can stay healthy, is you want to keep your endocrine system, which is the glandular system of your body, calm. And one of the drivers for that is the adrenals. That's why we do so much adrenal work. Okay? Good. All right, thank you. And we'll see you in a few minutes. And wash your hands and stay home.